Good evening and welcome to Minneapolis by Night. Tonight we will be joining our entire venue. That means it's open to mages, werewolves, and vampires as they go to visit Arthur Drake, the kindred, visit his shop. His shop, Swords and Sorcery Curios, which is in an old mill, a historic building, is open for tonight only. Every room in the building will be open to supernaturals. Every item on every shelf will be for sale. There is no private inventory for tonight, and he will happily answer any question regarding magic, the occult, the city, etc., etc. That being said, the shop has been closed to mortals, and the supernatural community has been given entry through a lower tunnel, formerly where the river had flown through the mill. That tunnel will lead up from the lower levels. Drake, dressed as you see him there, will be at the lower levels to greet the first guests through the doors. So I don't know if you guys want to trickle in, if you come in as a horde, trample the doors down like it's Black Friday.
Maria and Cereza could show up now, since Maria knows where this is.
All right, yeah, and this is one of the lower gates that you are quite familiar with.
We could start now.
And she's going to is lingering around somewhere.
All right. Drake, Drake's pretty blatant standing at the doorway. So if you're just kind of loitering outside, he'll motion you in.
Mr. Drake, have you met my young companion?
Only briefly the night she was introduced, as it were.
You may have heard, her name is Cereza. I was wondering, how solid is your knowledge of the clans?
What was that? Sorry, you kind of broke up just a little bit.
Hold on a second. Sorry about that. I was just turning our media server off. You don't happen to have a fairly good knowledge of the clans, do you?
I would consider it reasonably expansive.
I thought you might. We have been trying to determine what clan she is from. I was wondering if you could help us test her somehow. In particular indicator, myself.
Well, we could certainly discuss further and potentially identify it. It's generally you look for certain clues or traits.
That sounds good. But other guests soon. So I will take and look around with her until they arrive.
Yeah, feel free to browse. The shop is, as I said, open.
So raise it to look around other people.
All right, and the shop has a variety of mundane historical items, as well as some that are obviously implements for various different cultural, religious, magic practices. There's a number of other folks working in the shop, staff for his shop, some of whom you've met before, some of whom you haven't seen quite as much.
Demi knocks twice on the door before entering the shop. Uh, she walks to Lord Drake, says hello. She says good evening. I'm Demi from the Order of Hermes Chantry. You have such a wonderful place here.
It's been a good opportunity, as there are a number of good opportunities in this city.
So, what kind of items are for sale here?
Well, I started out, actually prior to my embrace, running a basic occult shop, healing crystals, tomes of black magic, the Necronomicon. Of course, probably not the real one. Looking back on it, I hope not.
That's fast.
That sort of item. I delved into some of the historical swords, armor, various implements of the Middle Ages. There's things that were being lost, that the culture and history that existed in a different time. Since then, that's expanded on items of other cultures, other beliefs. I have South African bloodletting kits. I have South American ritualistic instruments, etc.
That's great. Do you happen to have any maps to some Egyptian tombs or the pyramids, maybe?
I have a couple of. There's a section dedicated to the North African cultures, including the Egyptian culture. I don't know if I have necessarily maps per se, but I have some things that include documentation and writings from the initial excursions into these tombs, explorations, that sort of thing.
Right.
Some relics that were recovered and put up for availability.
Relics? What kind of relics are they? Like books?
I did have a couple of scrolls. I don't know offhand if they're still there. Jewelry, that sort of thing. Some of them are remains, much like the.
Any kind of weird looking books were found, or do you have a possession of any of those?
I'm not sure that I've seen books, like I say. Most of it was scrolls or tablets. There may be some files or sheaves of papyrus, that sort of thing. Nothing as a officially bound book.
Great. I'll have a look around. I have a few more questions about some recent events, but I guess I'll have a look around first. I don't want to ask too many questions at once.
I do have a number of staff milling about the shop, so you may be able to find some help there as well.
Thank you very much. She nods to him and walks to the shelf, observing the other items in the shop.
And as far as from the mundane, anything your Renaissance, Middle Ages, he's got authentic, like, reenactment grade arms and armor. He's got a lot of things dealing with the traditional occult, incense, candles, things for. He's got like maps and stuff for casting bones. He's got maps of the world tree. He's got um, various diagrams, summoning diagrams and such that are
Summoning
available.
she stares at the summoning diagrams, picks one of them, and observes it. Any details about it?
I mean, there's a variety of different ones. They're mostly laid out for different purposes, following the traditional seals methods. Some are for binding, some are for imprisoning, versus short-term binding. Some of them are for different types of beings or different, calling from different realms or planes, that sort of belief.
She looks so curious about them and starts observing each of them carefully, trying not to cause any scratch on the summoning scrolls. She just reads them.
Alrighty.
She then turns to Lord Drake and asks, "How expensive is this, if I may ask?"
He looks. He says, "Well, I've got a variety of them. I'd have to check that exact one, but typically as they're ones I've replicated or had my staff replicate from originals. I usually go for about $25 to $50, depending on what the application and intent and size and material. I have some that will um, higher quality materials, some that have been etched or some that are woven into bamboo mats. So be it.
$25 to $40. That's not a lot for such an amazing piece of uh, what? Wait, amazing piece of art. Are you sure it costs $25 to $40?
Yeah, I have, as I said, I have originals I can duplicate that from, so I'd have to check the exact price on that specific one, but if you get into my more elaborate ones, I have some in the further in, which I hope you brought a large vehicle if you purchase any of those, where they've been actually engraved.
Yeah,
Engraved mirrors. I have one that is a piece of rowan wood, a single sheet, a cross section that has been wood burned. And again, those can go up into the hundreds or thousands of dollars, but the basic paper and ink or charcoal.
That's fair enough. She observes the other scrolls, trying to pick ones that suits her, and mostly focuses on the ones that summons beings from other realms.
All right. Well, you're certainly welcome to browse further, and we've got some baskets set aside, bags set aside if you intend to make multiple small purchases. But then one of my staff can check you out at the register.
Okay, may I come in?
The door's open, so he'll kind of see you approaching, I imagine. Wave you in more. You know.
Colin approaches. Good evening, Mr. Drake. You said you were.
Good evening.
You mentioned you were open to answering a few questions.
Yeah, certainly. That's part of the Curios and occult as well.
In general, when after someone opened an otherworldly, the gate to an otherworldly realm, or another realm, more specifically, is it possible that someone else has the capacity to, let's say, just put their foot in the door when it closes back up so that it isn't fully closed?
Well, there's ways to wedge open gateways or shim the door, as it were. Make it that perhaps the door even appears closed, but it's more easily opened, or can now be opened from the other side as well. Those are certainly valid options.
Shit. Okay.
Demi chuckles on that last comment.
Well, and when it comes to, let's say, totemic beings trying to make themselves their domain a bit more pronounced on this plane of existence, in general, how would you go about it?
Oh, well, much the way we go about anything else. Find things that are appropriate to it. If you're trying to, summon various nature spirits, you would go into the wilderness. You would create a place of natural, thriving energy. You might pick a particular appropriate time, whether that be one of the solstices or turning of the seasons. So depending on that entity, I would say the appropriate time and place. For example, if you are calling the Lord of the Wild Hunt, well, that's the traditional Halloween, as it were, is a excellent time, and perhaps in the wilderness while hunting, or surrounded by trophies from hunts. So that would empower that being locally when you did call to them, or if they already resided there.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that last part? Says Demi, and she looks so curious about the subject.
Creating an appropriate sanctuary and sanctum whereby they are empowered with objects and talismans relative to their domain of influence, as it were, or their traits. Um, we speak of natures, the human nature, the inner beast, the all these different, the id, as Freud would call it, these various different traits for a spirit that is a fixed feature. A spirit has that trait and it is ingrained, it is part of who they are. So things that resonate with that, or things that support that nature, can empower it, especially within a sanctum that it has claimed it as its own. Strengthening that sanctum also strengthens the spirit itself by giving it a stronger anchor.
In
Uh,
general, strengthening said sanctum would require adorning it with objects that speak to the spirit's nature in general.
Correct. A For example, a spirit, uh, a bear spirit. If you have a cave that has the surrounded by berries for it to thrive on, uh, you've got the bones of its prey within it, uh, offerings, that sort of thing. That's far more likely to be successful than simply just going out to a cave.
Mm-hmm. Currently, trying to empower the Lord of Dreams, Nightmares, and Riddles. So I have obtained what it wants in order for to empower it. Hence, to my shame, I've already spent my extra money that I usually um, use for things of more, well, let's say frivolous nature usually. So right now I've spent all my money basically on books on the law so that I can offer it some tribute as tribute essentially.
Well, that understandable.
Since the request was specifically on scrolls, parchments, and other um, written texts of occult nature, I'm sorry, but I'm already mostly here just from a philosophical standpoint. So at best, I can return next month and order some more books from here, or scrolls,
Certainly,
parchments.
we do also deal in barter as well. So
Well, I I wouldn't know as to what would please both Lord Chimera and what would be appropriate for you, so that I don't get too much in the red, so to speak.
well, just as I deal in a cult here, that's kind of the objects I'm looking for. So
I can provide some knowledge if you.
Implements, talismans, um, specific information that might lead to those things. Um, some people have given me designs or blueprints, as it were, for their particular talismans that they've crafted.
Mm. Uh, well, there is basically, since I'm of Romanian background, I can tell you a few specific Romanian folk warnings or folk stories that some superstitions that are Romanian specific, if that interests you in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, that's not necessary. That might be a good lead.
Oh. You know
Huh.
that there are multiple types of the fair folk, and the good kind that I know of are called Senziene. They generally are there is specific celebration within the final days of June, if I remember correctly, somewhere around the summer solstice, where basically they give their blessings to those that make sort of a necklace of actually the flowers that are called Senziene. And if you if you put them as a decoration upon doors, or whether it be doors to the library, doors to um, your room, doors to the house, then it should provide good luck for the day. But depending on how you throw the necklace over the house, it can determine whether you have good luck or you will find out that someone close to you will be dead soon. It is sort of a traditional folk celebration that, even though technically we're mostly Christian Orthodox, Christian Catholic, both Roman and Greek, this kind of celebration is even to this day celebrated, some more in the rural areas than in the cities, but there are quite a few people that celebrate it in the cities and receive the blessings of the Senziene. However, on the flip side, there are the more nastier type of fae that are called Yele. And generally, if you see their dance and while wandering through the forest, generally forests of the Carpato-Danubiano Pontic region rather than just about anyone, you shouldn't look at the dance proper because in general you either die on the spot, or if you survive seeing it, you tend to go mad. And in general, it's not a specific way of knowing how to avoid the scene set dance, but generally, don't get lost would be the best advice. Because usually, when you get lost, you just find all sorts of things.
Oh, that does tend to happen.
Um, that's what I know on the top of my head. I'd have to think about it a bit more if I remember anything else. But through a barter perspective, did, did that provide enough information for you to have some sort of an idea? Or did you need the scientific name of the Cinziana?
Well, that can be a sufficient start. I'll have to redocument that and send perhaps one of my staff over that direction.
But for now, at least, mm, is it a sufficient barter for something minor?
Yeah, I think we could certainly arrange. Are you looking for more documents, texts on various faiths, or
Uh,
what? What would you like?
as long as it's an occult text that I can literally just copy for myself to read it later and then give it as a tribute, the original, to Chimera as an offering, then that's basically what I need.
Sure, certainly. I have a couple of excellent texts can offer.
All right, I'll leave you to it to your other guests.
I'll locate those. Do you want them tonight? Do you want me to have them sent over?
Uh,
Do you
I
want to stop back and pick them up?
I'll be back, as it were, since I will be doing this for some time now until I find some uh, shamans that are willing to work with alongside well the Ardrai on this matter. But for now, this is basically my stopgap measure.
I can put
So
out a call as well and see what I can come up with.
that would be appreciated if you find some followers of Chimera that may or may not be trained in the old ways that to work with the Rai. I I will personally be looking for it through the various mage subsections so that maybe someone would want to do such a thing to, fix the tears between worlds on Chimera's domain, essentially. Uh, for now, I'll leave you to your other guests. And Alien would
Feel
be
free to browse. You're certainly welcome to, if nothing else. Get ideas for the future as well.
And basically, he would be browsing on the various written uh, text, where it be papyruses, scrolls, uh, tomes, books, things of that nature that can be put through a Xerox machine and then the original sent to the Ardrai. And next person.
I think it's just you and me.
No, I've been dealing with small person. Well, McKenna is going to walk up to the door here and give Drake a nod.
Demi looks at her, then steps aside to another shelf.
Good evening.
Anna!
Good evening, Maria.
I brought Sreza with me, as you can hear.
Oh, goody. My other favorite redhead besides myself. She just
Stick
kind of
together.
waves at Cereza.
He just kind of waves back.
Oh. Looks like it's a busy evening here.
Why,
It seems to be fairly popular. I'm slightly overstaffed, but that's not the worst situation to have either.
That's true. Figured I would pop in, being as the last few times I was here, I didn't look around as and hoped to do.
Well, there's certainly plenty to see. We have the entire facility's open. Staff's working, so feel free to browse. Is there something specific you're looking for?
I'm just looking for now, thank you.
Demi returns back to Lord Drake. Excuse me, I have a few questions if you have time for it.
I will let you get to your other customers. And she just kind of walks past Demi. The look on her face clearly suggests that it's best that she walk away now.
Aaron will sneak in and take McKenna by the arm and just guide her away from Demi, just because by the look of her uncomfort, and say hello.
Demi smiles and waves to Makina away while Aaron drags her.
She rolls her eyes, but she doesn't say anything. And she just kind of looks at Aaron like, what the fuck are you doing?
He'll whisper to her, "You looked really uncomfortable with that person around."
Uncomfortable is not how I feel right now. She just leaves it at that.
I figured I'd give you a social
I
reason
do, however.
to... I figured I'd give you a social reason to stay away from her.
Oh, I don't need a social reason to stay away from her.
Demi
I
keeps
just
her
tried to help.
smile, and it seems like she's amused and enjoying this too much.
Though I do appreciate it. How are you, Aaron?
I'm well. How are you?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
He will, after a moment, let go of her arm as soon as they're out of eyesight of Demi.
She just kind of looks at Maria, and Maria says, Aaron's dragging her off, and she's like, well, she just kind of waves like, well, see you later.
Oh.
Aaron is trying to be nice and helpful.
Oh.
Drama.
And McKenna's just going to start looking at everything, taking her time, like she didn't get to do the last couple times.
Maybe we should look at something sharpened.
Oh, hey, Aaron.
Oh,
McKenna.
I was actually thinking you might like something sharp and pointy. And then Maria face palms after hearing herself say that.
Aline would say, hey, Aaron and McKenna.
Do you have any
You cut out at the end.
do you have any weapons in your collection?
Well, I have a significant variety of weapons. Pretty much up to, well, I generally cut off at anything past a flintlock. The more modern weapons tend not to hold the mystery unless there's something spectacular about them. Someone brings in, oh, you know, one of a famous mobster's gun, I might consider it, but
Why don't you mention weapons? Because that would be the first thing McKenna would be looking at.
Demi walks to McKenna and pets her shoulder.
McKenna just looks at her like, did you really just fucking touch me?
And Aaron, seeing that, takes like a giant step back.
She just smiles to McKenna and asks, have you participated in the battle against the Green Dragon?
I was there.
Okay, I have a few questions. What kind of powers did he have?
What kind of powers do I have?
I said he.
He? Okay. I couldn't hear that.
So aggressive.
Well, he's a dragon. So what kind of powers do you think he has?
No way, he's a dragon, really.
I'm done with this.
Aaron will
shit.
be like, Aaron just pipes up. Really, you didn't catch it from the Green Dragon name, really? No. You didn't think it was
I'm
a dragon,
serious.
really?
I'm serious here. What kind of... Did he have like some flickering eyes with like green flames, something like that?
Green flames is putting it mildly.
OC, what does that mean again?
It means
It's an
anything
understatement.
he puts on. Yes.
I couldn't
Let me
hear
ask
you.
Anything he breathed on, if it caught fire, let me put it this way, it was very, very difficult to put out. And I'm not just talking your standard fire.
Well,
All right.
okay, but was it green flames and have his eyes flickered with green flames?
Green flames, yes. I didn't get close enough to look into his eyes.
Yeah. She just says shit and she looks shocked.
you hear a voice from the next aisle over, and he just says, "That's a shame." It was a male voice.
Oh,
McKenna just kind of like peeks over to the next aisle.
she looks over there too. She actually.
There's a fairly muscular individual walking down the next aisle away from you. He has long dreadlocks.
She pets McKenna's
Now-
shoulder. She pets McKenna's shoulder twice again.
If I use Scent of the True Form on this guy, am I going to have to roll for it?
That would be a big negative.
Okay.
Aaron's gonna. Who's patting McKenna on the shoulder?
Demi.
Again.
Again.
Just kind of bites her tongue.
Okay, I can't hear.
She really wants to make a comment after he walks away and says that's a shame. But she's going to refrain from doing so.
Are you sure you guys killed the green dragon?
Oh. I'm certain that the green dragon has been taken care of.
Right. Well, thanks for your time, McKenna. I hope you have a good evening.
She just kind of like looks at Demi and nods and proceeds into
She waves and walks away. She
looking
goes,
at items.
Actually, Aaron follows McKenna.
Yes.
Demi heads to Lord Drake. Well, you guys may proceed. I'll have a smoke break, OC, so I don't want to interrupt any conversations.
I have an item that I think that I should be talking to you guys about.
To me? Or him? She points down the aisle.
No. You or your friends.
Well, I wouldn't say he's my friend, but
No,
what is the item?
I'm afraid. Aaron will poke his head back towards the entrance and ask if he could borrow a side room from the person who owns the building. I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Drake?
Yes.
All the rooms are open.
Do you mind if we close the door for a few minutes?
That's. I didn't peg you two as a couple, but that's fine.
It's
No,
nothing
no,
like
no,
that.
no. McKenna even puts her hands up like, no, no.
Aaron holds up his hand. He goes, "It's not like that. I need
Really not
some
like
advice
that.
on."
Demi looks at them and goes like, "Oh, have a good time, both of you. Just be careful while doing it."
Now, and Aaron looks right at McKenna and goes, "Now I understand why." No,
It's a lot deeper than that.
Is it now?
Yes, I realized what I said after I said it.
Anyway, he'll step into a side room and ask McKenna to join him.
Okay, she will step into the side room, like shaking her head.
He'll close the door. You want to make some noises just to annoy them, or no?
No. You do not need to add fuel to that fire.
Aaron's just grinning like he's joking with her, of course. But he'll. Is there a table in one of the side rooms?
Yeah, he's
John?
got a full library set up, you name it.
You remember that gun that's a slight fetish gun that Aaron has his hands on for a while now? John?
Yes.
He's going to show that to McKenna.
Oh, great, he's whipping his item out.
His big guns out! Yeah. He's gonna pull what looks like a heavy a pistol out from underneath his jacket and place it on the table. John, can
see a
you
gun?
John, can you give a little more of a description?
Let me check back in my notes here. I have to remember which fetish pistol he has.
Yep.
There were a number of them floating around.
I'm going to assume it's not loaded.
No.
Okay.
Where a ammunition clip would be, it is not. There's not an ammunition clip.
Okay. She is going to pick it up and give it a good look. Do I need to roll my gnosis?
See if I have notes on that.
If it's a fetish, I should have to roll my gnosis.
Is how fetishes work for werewolves.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's how fetishes work for mages, considering they don't have gnosis. I assume it would run off of quintessence.
Well, they would have to
Mages.
roll their arete with having a spirit sphere to recognize it.
And I know that in not a third way for vampires, it works off of our willpower.
All
Yes.
I know is I don't think Aaron knows a lot about it. All he knows is that the one time he used it against a spirit, it worked to damage the spirit. So I think it might have been about that. But we've had one combat where he attacked a spirit's silk cord with it. It's been a long time.
Can I have a character? I assume this gun is basically like the pistol that Sakat had.
McKenna's just kind of looking at it, and yeah, this thing's kind of I wouldn't use this thing lightly.
Yeah, I've only used it once.
And what did it do when you used it?
It was able to hit a spirit's spirit cord.
Yes. It can be dangerous depending on the spirit you disconnect.
Yeah, I think the time we used it, we effectively dealt with the spirit that it severed.
And what is your idea of effectively dealing with the spirit? What spirit did you sever?
I have no idea, but it was a
He says he has no idea, and McKenna face palms.
We faced it as far as I understand. We destroyed it directly afterwards. Between firepower from this and other attackers.
Oh, If you're gonna mess with spirits, you should at least know what you're dealing with, what connections they have, so on and so forth.
It's, yeah, probably, but I'm pretty sure that the spirit that I used to stick disconnect was permanently finished via firepower from this gun plus other attacks.
Well, right, that spirit. It doesn't mean other spirits aren't going to remember.
It's a good point.
Spirits communicate with each other. You can earn a reputation among them.
True. Luckily,
And
I've only used
Spirit
it.
Slayer is not the reputation that you want. Not unless they are doing damage to something else. But the
Pretty sure it
spirits
was.
around.
Pretty sure it had control over some mortal or something like that.
Wait.
It's been a really long time since I used it.
What did this spirit look like?
John, it's been like what almost a year now since that's been used.
Yes.
It's been so long I can't even remember. Let's see. Can I do a mental roll to see if I can remember, John?
Yeah.
Standard diff.
Yes. And I'll see if I can find the image.
7 successes. Holy shit.
Hey, quick question. John,
Yes.
I was wondering something. Is spirits?
What's that?
Spirits. Can you get spirits as an influence?
I'd have to look. I think I've been using a similar system, but not per se.
Okay. Reputation, fame, something like that.
Yeah, I think I've been using fame or status. I'd have to check. I have notes for it for some.
So we have like a secret stat for that, I'm assuming.
What's that?
I said I'm assuming we have a secret stat for that.
Yeah, well, there's a background for it, basically, that I've been kind of tracking.
Okay. Cool. That's all I wanted to know.
God. Yeah, I remember what Aaron is referring to out of character. That was the Hunger Bane.
Yeah, I sent a picture to Holly.
Okay.
Oh, the hunger spirit. That was like the second scene that Sekat was in. That was when
So-
she used.
Oh.
So yeah, he'll describe that to you. Can you send me the
Yeah.
picture too, John?
You said that was attached to a human?
It was a human, wasn't it, John?
Yeah, it was a mage.
It was a mage. Oh, it was a mage. Sorry.
Oh. You had a. Oh. Considering some company in this building, even though we are in a. Even though we do have this room to ourselves, I would rather have this conversation elsewhere
Okay.
at a later date.
Sure.
Demi opens the door and pops her head in, and the door is locked.
It's not locked.
She
Unless
just
unless Aaron locked it, but McKenna didn't lock it.
No, Aaron didn't lock it.
well, Demi pretends that the door is locked anyway, trying to make it look like they're doing something.
Oh.
McKenna looks at Aaron, noting, because I'm sure that if there's a doorknob and she's twisting it, acting like it's locked, that they can hear the doorknob moving.
Yep.
And
And
she
you-
is going to abruptly grab the doorknob and push it open.
Demi goes like, "Oh, it was locked. I'm sorry, I didn't know." Anyway, I have two other
It
questions.
wasn't locked.
It wasn't. Oh, must be my imagination. Anyway, how powerful was the green dragon, if I may ask?
What was the green dragon?
How powerful was it?
Geez, you really like pushing, don't you?
She looks
Extremely
staring
powerful.
from-
You remember that voice that we heard in that aisle? Maybe you should find that guy. He can probably answer the questions for you.
No, I need to ask you specifically for it.
No, you don't.
Yeah, kinda. I do. I can't ask anyone else. Anyway, how was his human form? Maybe.
Just a point. Aaron is going to step between the two of them and go, "I think you got your answer," and he'll like slam the door in her face.
Whoa.
Well, that's what McKenna's trying to hit her with the door. Open.
I'm sorry. Did he just close the door and McKenna just opened it again?
McKenna is going to proceed into walking out of this. She's going to look at Aaron. She'll be like, "Yes, we'll have this conversation at another date and time."
One second. And he holds out his hand. And I do want that back, by the way.
Yes.
So McKenna is just
I'm
stepping out.
sorry. I'm sorry. There are some distractions.
Yes, we can discuss ownership over this item at that later time as well.
Yes.
And he'll put it back under his jacket.
Yes, we can. McKenna is going to walk past Demi
Demi tries to hold
and
her
proceed
hand.
into.
Demi would see the exchange of a rather large handgun while standing there.
Anyway, she looks at the gun and goes like, "Oh, such a small gun." Anyway, she looks back at the McKenna.
It's all about how you. It's all about how you use it. Don't tempt me.
Sorry about
Demi, I
that.
have a question for you.
She looks back at McKenna and asks again, "I need an answer from you. How his human form looked like."
I don't know.
You never met the Green Dragon in person or met his human form?
Ugh. There are plenty of other individuals that you can ask that are probably more informed on the green dragon than I am.
Well, okay, give me some names and I'll make sure to ask around.
I don't know his name, the gentleman that was on the other side of the bookshelf. I suspect he knows something based on his commentary.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry for disturbing your fun. Anyway, have
No,
a
you're
good
not.
night.
Walking away.
Yep,
And she's going to try to look at the other weapons now.
Yep, door's locked.
Okay.
She says that, then walks away, smirking.
Yeah, McKenna, like I said, she proceeds into looking at the other weapons, and I'm going to take a moment here, and I'm going to drop a gnosis to take a peek at the weapons.
Okay.
Just checking for We'll see if any of them actually have a reflection over here. Spirits are attached, so on and so forth.
Um, is Ellen around?
Yeah, Aline is around. What?
Demi walks to him. Hey, Ellen, how are you?
Uh, Usually busy with something or other. What's up?
Oh, well, I'll interrupt you then. Have you contributed in the fight against the Green Dragon?
Yes.
Um, how powerful was he, if I may ask?
Powerful enough to disrupt the whole city.
And you guys managed to take him out.
Yes.
Okay, how did his human form look like?
I don't remember him ever taking a human form.
Did he have some sort of tattoos on his chest?
Like, seriously, I've just seen the dragon in the dragon form.
I see. Are you positive you guys managed to kill him?
Well, another one ate him alive, so yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I heard about your financial issue. Uh, are you in some sort of critical financial position right now?
Well, I've kind of spent all my spending cash on books of the occult, so. And I'm literally just made a deal with someone to get some more books of the occult.
Um,
So yeah, I'm spending cash.
okay. We're like providing books for the spirit in the old Green Dragons Sanctuarium, right?
We are providing books. Huh? Why do you
That's
ask?
that's the spirit residing in the old Green Dragon's domain, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'll leave you here for a few minutes. I'll also ask Lord Drake about some sort of, I don't know, some treasure maps or whatever to assist us with some financial support, maybe.
Okay.
Okay. I'll see you later. See ya. She walks away in a very awkward way, heading to Lord Drake.
Talk to your girlfriend. Then
She's got a
you-
stick up her ass.
Hey, Alan,
What?
he's awake.
Oh. Finally. Cool.
Yeah. I had to go in and do some stuff myself to wake him up, but I got him awake.
Nice. It's good to know. Thanks, man.
Demi hits to Lord Drake. Lord Drake, do you have a moment, please?
I do.
Do you happen to have any information about the Green Dragon?
Well, I have some documentation, some texts on it.
Well, from your experience, is it possible for such a powerful entity to come back from the dead or maybe survive death? I mean, I managed to do so I wouldn't be surprised if a dragon did the same.
There's certainly anything is possible, I would imagine, but the spiritual essence was consumed by another spirit and altered.
Which spirit was that consumed the green dragon?
I believe it would be the Ebon Worm.
The what again?
Lord, that would be the Ebon Worm, the Lord of the Underworld.
I see. Is it possible that when a spirit consumes another spirit essence, that both of them will have some sort of a clash or a conflict inside the second spirit? Maybe the first spirit that was consumed will be able to take over the second spirit that consumed it.
He laughs slightly at that and he says, "Oh, that would be what leads up to the consumption."
So that will lead up to the first spirit coming back and being even more powerful than before.
No, the green dragon had already been sufficiently subdued when it was consumed. The consumption by the Ebon Worm is destruction. He is destruction.
I see. Thank you for your time. I'll take a look around the other items.
Um, so Aline would be, after perusing a bit, would be meeting up with Maria and Cereza and be like, so how are you this evening? Josie, you there? Josie,
Yeah.
I was just saying
Can you hear
to.
me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Good. What were you saying?
I was just asking, how are you this evening?
Oh, I've simply come to look around, and who else decided to come? It's an interesting crowd.
That's one word for it, yes. I was going to ask you at one point or another, do you have any books to contribute to the fund, or do you want to stay out of it?
That? Stay out of what?
Remember when we talked to the king, and you know, a lot of people kind of said that they want to put their own books, tomes, scrolls, papyruses, and whatever have you to make the library bigger.
Oh, yes. That's actually fortuitous that you mentioned that. I was hoping to ask Drake about the particular items that I was thinking of contributing.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. I'm not stopping you. It's just I was trying to see if you were going to contribute, or are you staying out? So I know when it comes to just putting it on bulk so that we know whose card to take or something. No. Anyway. Mhm. So yeah, go ahead. I'll be looking good at some stuff over here.
Very well then. Maria is going to go over to Arthur Drake and she's going to say, so, he a relevant topic. Those books that I brought you to look at, the ones from the Infernalists.
Yes.
Do you appropriate offering to Shimra, or do you think that would corrupt Shimra?
I certainly could see that being a beneficial. It's still knowledge. No knowledge in and of itself is bad. It is its application.
Currently haven't been utilizing that knowledge, and if I needed to, I could simply return to that library to do so. Well, she looks over to Aline. Aline, it seems I do have something to contribute.
Oh, okay. Very well then. Oh. I'll get the car, as it were. After, yeah.
Them to a common meeting place. Again. Just contact me at some point. There will need your help with, as it was anyway.
Okay.
I will be contacting you about that soon.
Sure.
Demi
Excellent.
whispers to Alan with, you can use a private room if you want. Then she walks away again.
Talk to your girlfriend. Seriously. She's worried about you. Anyway.
What? She opens her phone and notices that there is a missed voice call from Seraphine. She goes like, "Oh, sorry, I was on silent mode. I didn't notice. I'll make sure to call her soon tonight."
Okay.
Okay, have fun with your new girlfriend. She walks away again.
Right. Anyway. Back to Maria. Like, literally ignoring the comment. So yeah, meet and talk it over.
Of course.
I'll finish my arrangements with Arthur Drake about the specific books so that I know when and how to send them. In the meantime, peruse and ask away, essentially.
Excellent. Maria is going to go over to with the weapons going to ask Ian. So what was it that you were looking for anyway? Were you looking for something like what you already had? Okay. Okay, so she's going to look to see if there's any swords.
I mean, there's a tremendous variety. Broadswords, long swords, short swords, hand and a half, great sword, the Scottish claymore, Falkian scimitar, katanas.
You would want
As well as axes, daggers.
Oriental Orient. Are there any swords, like say Japan?
Katanas, I think.
Necessarily, it could be a wakizashi. It could be some other.
Yeah, there's a variety of them depending on how large a size you want.
Maria points them out to Cereza. She asks Arthur Drake, are any of those in any way more than mundane? I'm sure they all have stories to them and histories, but actually she thinks to herself, actually, even if they have, it'd be quite useful. But do you have anything of that variety and with?
Let me check some inventory. I had a gentleman who studied with me briefly who was skilled in those sorts. I may have something. How large are you looking? Two hand, one hand, concealable in a jacket, strapped to the inner thigh, keep away those pesky boyfriends.
One-handed? That seems to be
18-inch blade, 2 foot. I can fit it.
something shorter, Cereza?
Yeah.
I've been meaning to ask this, but have you ever had a questing blade?
That's something I'm familiar with, but
A blade that is 1/3 a blade of creation, 1/3 of balance, and 1/3 of destruction.
seems like it would cause problems.
Yeah.
Generally, the magic that weapons I have are imbued for a specific purpose.
Fair enough. This specific purpose in particular was basically quests.
That sounds something akin to the
I didn't hear what to the.
I would say that's probably on par with things like Beowulf's Blade or Excalibur.
Wait,
Hold on.
Excalibur's?
Didn't. Yeah. Hold on. King Arthur had another blade. Not Excalibur, not Caliburn, but It was a staff, a halberd. Yes, that's it. I was thinking a halberd.
Well, he had a spear. He also had an additional sword, Clarent, that was later used to kill him, held by his son.
Mordred.
Correct.
Yeah. For whatever reason, I remember him having a staff-like object at one point when he rode horses, not just his usual Caliburn, Excalibur, and blade that killed him. For whatever reason, I remember of that one. Would that particular one be of questing?
John?
He does have the spear. I don't know how much it would be of questing.
John? I got 2 successes on an occult check to see if I can figure out what he's talking about.
Figure out what's that now?
I got 2 successes on an occult check to see if I can figure out what weapon he's talking about. The name specifically, not so much what it does or anything.
Yeah, I could see a cult for that as a mythology. But it would be the, and I'm not even going to try and butcher the full name, but Jeffrey Sestoya calls it the Ron.
Yeah, I'll just say the name, and you can say if I'm correct or not, and react and such if that's all right.
Yeah.
So we don't butcher it.
Yeah, I'm going to, with 2 successes, you would have succeeded.
He'll poke his head around the shelf and say a name of a weapon. That the one you're thinking of?
I think so. I'm sorry, I really don't know how to pronounce it. It's even in Romanian, I don't know how to pronounce it well.
Yeah, it's not an easy one.
I think it's a form of Gaelic or something.
Yeah, Gaelic would be about right, seeing where they're from. Or very old English.
Yeah, true. But Old English usually sounds like German for whatever reason.
Origins, it was based off of German.
Yeah, it broke off of German essentially.
Yeah, they shared a common ancestor.
Aaron's going to hold up.
Exactly.
Hey, John. Aaron's going to hold the item we're talking about up and ask how much.
We can. I'm certain come up with I'd have to check the ledgers, but it can't be more than a couple hundred. It's an older piece. It's a good sword. Tonight isn't about getting rich either.
He'll take out $200 and offer it to him.
I think that would be a fair deal. After all, you do good business the first time, people come back for more.
Deal. And he'll hand it to him.
Are they talking about the Excalibur?
No, he's not buying Excalibur. Oh my god.
Jesus, no.
Yes, John. Thank you for selling me Excalibur for $200. That's awesome.
I was like, what the fuck?
Cool pair of Benjamins for
Aaron's just running. Aaron's taking Excalibur, running out the shop before he changes his mind. No, I'm kidding. It's not Excalibur. He does, well, to let you know, he holds up what looks like a dark scimitar.
Jeez. Jimmy grabs some of the healing crystal, one of the healing crystals, I mean, and hits to Lord Drake. How much is this?
Uh, the smaller ones are usually about $5 a piece. I get some more ornate ones.
And the bigger ones?
Some of the very large ones can be a couple hundred. I've had some significantly sized geodes.
Um, like how? What's the capacity of their healing power? Like, what exactly can they heal, starting from the smaller ones to the bigger ones, if I may ask?
Well, I mean, it depends who you ask. Some people believe they heal aches and pains, arthritis. Others think they can cure cancer. I
So
suppose
they
it would
are.
be a matter of faith.
So they just cure sickness, but not wounds.
Well, I personally have never used them to heal anything. But like many talismans, it's a matter of belief, I suppose, and application. What is a placebo or perceived to be a fake for one person might be functional and effective for another.
I see. Thank you. I also would like to buy a two-handed sword and a set of armor. How much would that cost me, in your opinion?
Well, depends. Again, two-handed swords are fairly generic description. There are multiple cultures. If you're thinking traditionally European, a claymore, I'd strongly advise against it due to your size and recommend instead that you look at a hand and a half sword or a bastard sword. Functionally very similar, but a little more manageable size. Those are typically a couple $100. Suits of armor, it depends if you want a simple leather armor. Are you looking for scale mail, chain mail, plate mail?
I'll take your advice about the hand and half one, but I'm looking for one from the Egyptian cultures, the ancient ages and such, like something that belonged to Horus or Widget or Gadra, you know.
Well, I can dig into. I mean, nothing I have typically is going to be. I don't think I have anything belonging to anything at that scope.
Yeah, I would appreciate it if there is anything that's related to God Set as well, since he's known to be the god of death. So I really like collecting that stuff. If you have such swords, items, maybe.
Well, looking around a bit. I can. I believe I have a Kolpesh here, but that's typically single-handed.
I was hoping to see some one of sets scythe or something. Uh, just this sword, or is there anything else?
I may have a hand sickle somewhere, but those tend to be rare as well. And finding one that's truly accurate, or indeed authentic, even is even tougher.
A scythe, there is one.
Hand sickle. I don't have the full-size war scythe. That would be the two-handed weapon. But I have the single-handed sickle.
OC question, what's a sickle? I don't know. I never seen that word before.
Do you know the symbol for the Cold War era Russians? There's a
No.
hammer. There's a hammer and there's another weapon.
Maybe I'll Google it because I didn't have the culture since English is not even my main language. So
1 second.
I sent you
I'll put it in the.
sickles.
I sent one to you on Facebook.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, the Russians used to use the symbol of the hammer and the sickle.
Thanks, John. So far, Drake just showed her one sword and it's single-handed, right?
Well, she initially had requested a khopesh or something Egyptian, so he had a khopesh, which I can link you a picture of as well. That would be a khopesh. That was what he had initially.
That's totally Egyptian, yeah. Awesome. Okay, and the armors, may I have a look at them? She asks.
I have some generic pieces you can try. Some of them may have to be retailored to fit you, just like any other fine apparel. But
Okay.
there, he said, I've got armor racks on the next floor there. There's a room with a variety of armors.
She nods and checks on the armors. She usually keeps her eyes on plate armors, chainmails, and such. She points at one of the plate armors and asks, "How much is this one?" It would look like a light plate armor. I think she would just try to find some light plate armor. I mean, if there is any around.
Plate tends to be pretty heavy regardless, but he does have some that aren't quite as aggressive.
Well, she would pick any light armor, I guess. She would ask, how much is it?
Lighter weight would be like a leather or a studded leather, that sort of thing.
All right. How much is it?
Well, I've got the basic studded leather, just a cuirass. For 200, I can do a full set that's got the matching greaves and gauntlets and heavier pauldrons. That would be another 300 on top of it.
Is there anything better than the leather armor, which could something better than the leather armor but not heavy? Because I'd rather have more agility while wearing it, if possible.
Anything that's more protection than leather is going to be heavier as well, limit your mobility.
Well, what do you recommend for my size and something that could fit my attributes maybe?
Well, I personally tend to use leather armor.
Okay, I'll take a full set of leather armor. That's 200, right?
The full set will be about 600. That's assuming you want the greaves, pauldron, and gauntlets as well. If you just want the cuirass, it would be about 300.
I think that will do. And the sword.
If you're interested in the Kopesh, I could certainly do about 75 on it. It's a solid piece, good steel, but certainly not something I can't ever get again.
Well, I can afford the full set leather armor for now. I also need some summoning scrolls. That's related to the ancient Egyptian mythology, because that would be so useful to me since it fits my practice. Which section is it, if I may ask, about the scrolls?
It'll be further down past the seals and such. All the scrolls for various practices are organized in there. So.
Thank you very much. Here's the cash for the full leather set. She hands him the $600.
All right.
Okay, how much is that from my resources?
That'd be
She has 3 resources.
Yeah, let me check my
Okay.
wonderful rule book. As my point of reference.
I think resources is 3K a month. Above your normal stuff, I think. That could be wrong though.
They don't
Yeah,
spell it out fully, but I would say, yeah, that's probably it's gonna spend 2 of your resources for the month. So
I spent what?
that'll be 2 of your resources for the month. So you still have the resources. It's just spent your monthly allocation of them.
Oh, so that the $600 took 2 points of my resources of this month.
Correct.
Okay. Should pick some summoning. Bless you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
with that 2 dots of temp resources, you'd be able to get some other some basic scrolls as well. That would work as foci for your practice.
Awesome. Should pick some scrolls about the god Set, Anubis, Horus, and Ra, and Widget too. Like
what? No Ta?
what?
Ta. You know, the god that holds the key to the all of the worlds.
Ra?
Ta. Ta.
Write it down because I couldn't hear it.
Sidebar.
Ta?
Yeah. Egyptian god, just saying. Married to Bast.
I don't know about the name in English, but I would recognize it in Arabic maybe, but yeah, probably she likes. Wait, let me get the name.
Hmm.
Oh, Ptah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't in that one. I don't think any of the letters in that name are silent. I'm pretty sure it said Ptah.
Yeah, well, I have a weird pronunciation when it comes to certain things, so you have to excuse me on that.
No problem.
Oh, yeah, Btah. We say it Btah in Arabic. So yeah, now I get it. Yeah, she would pick a scroll about him too. So that should sell it, I guess. And hallelujah, I just lost two temporary resources, but it's totally worth it.
Hey, you're better than me. I lost all three of them on books.
Well, like I told you, we can get some treasure map or anything to replenish them,
Don't worry about it.
or we can
Look,
rob someone.
okay, we're not talking about that. Anyway,
I'm gonna rob Makina 'cause it's gonna be fun.
Good luck with that.
stop. Seriously, stop. But anyway, it's really getting late here, so um, Aline would establish the details with Arthur Drake at when he'll come tomorrow evening, so that the books would be ready for pickup, so that he can, Xerox and then send it the original to Chimera's library. We good with
Uh,
that, John?
Yep.
uh,
Okay.
D- Demi calls him before he leaves. She tells him to tell Seraphine not to be worried about her and that she's fine and she will see her soon.
Hey, I tried to tell her that, but she kept on being worried, so I'll tell her again. Hopefully, this time she'll listen to me.
Hopefully.
We'll see. Anyway, he goes around the shop to say goodbye to all of the members here and then leaves. Sorry, guys, I really need to sleep.
Good night, bro.
Right.
Bye.
All right.
Demi seeks Lord Drake one last time. Do you offer any work opportunities here? Because I'm kind of running low on cash and I might need some job.
I can talk to some of my other staff and see if we need someone else. If you want to leave contact information.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. I have to pay for my college expenses and such. I would really appreciate it if I get a job here, and it's really fun. looking at all these items and delving in more occult. So thank you, and I hope I really get that job, if there is any.
So he'll take note of your contact info as well.
She offers her respect and uh, uh, takes her leave. She she's giving the leather armor and the scrolls, or they will be delivered to her house.
Whichever one she would prefer.
Well, she will have them on her in her car, and she will drive off to her house, I guess. Well, I'm gonna go as well, guys, because I'm really tired, and it's like almost 6 a.m. So I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Okay.
Sounds good.
Good night.
Alright. Drake will have a pair of short blades for Oriental that he returns with.
Oh, cool.
It's appears to be a matched set.
No.
Oh, what do you think of these, Teresa?
Well, I can use both hands.
This might be perfect then. Is there anything particularly special about them? Do they have a history?
They are fairly well, first and foremost, unique that there's simply the fact that there's a pair. Typically, a single wakizashi would have been paired with a larger katana as a set. So that alone makes it unusual. They are carved out of what's thought to be either ivory or some sort of bone for the hilt and the sheath. The sword is the blades are for the era high quality steel, a traditional folded steel style, and it's been since enhanced. Although I don't know the exact details. I'm sure I could bring one of my staff over who could clarify further if needed.
Yes, that's a very good question. How much does it cost?
Well, given this is for I guess from a certain standpoint, an apprentice of an apprentice. Look, a picture. I'm certain we could make some other arrangements. We certainly have further knowledge to share with one another.
That's true.
I'm open to a arrangement there as we continue to study.
That sounds fair.
Any sort of comparable items that you wanted to trade otherwise, but
As you know, I am quite poor at the moment, but
well, then
come
perhaps
across anything.
in the meantime
There,
sorry, you're
I
cutting
may
off.
actually be able to provide you with the location of a number of items in the future. So that may change. Some research. There are a number of items that I was looking for, but pull that other people up. So Aaron and McKenna need to speak with you. I would be more than happy to speak further since we've already found item here. And of course, always return with Soraya at a later date. Speak with you.
Well, other than McKenna and this young man,
You can continue with Holly. More than happy to do my shopping in the background.
alright. Holly available, or is small person being a problem again?
Continue if Jaharis is
Hard to say.
okay. So I guess I will ask Drake a few more questions. You determine whether or not it's safe for you to Holly, or would you like to try to go? Hello? Still connected? Yeah, I can hear Ian.
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm waiting on I asked if she was able to jump in or if she's holding
Yeah,
on.
like I said, Aaron is happy to be shopping in the background, putting his employees to work while he's dealing with you guys.
Well, we go take a little and I'll be right back. Hopefully the wee one is cooperative soon.
Why do I have a feeling that it's a situation like every time she gets a chance to say something, the baby does something.
Yeah, that seems pretty likely. No, you must pay attention to me.
Okay.
No,
So,
joking.
Oh, I'll kick you in the face.
Hey,
She's
Holly.
eyeing up these weapons, and she's going to pull her phone out, and she's sending a message on her phone, and she's going to put her phone back, and she's going to be looking for the Fey items. You're looking for Fey-based items.
Alrighty.
I need to make that roll. Perception enigmas. Four, 7. After I stop peeking, of course, the text message thing goes and everything. Okay. I have 2 successes on that.
Alrighty.
Yep. So that happened.
Alright. Now there's a couple of Fey weapons here, and I did drop a message to you with them.
All right. Okay. She'll take note of those items, those particular items because she's got a bunch of other stuff to look at. That's what she came here to do.
Alrighty.
So basically, she's just gonna take her time going through things and looking for the looking for those types of items.
Hey, John.
Yep.
I think after a certain amount of time, Mechanic probably would take notice that Aaron is only specifically fixating on particular items.
So is she.
because either he's following her at some point or she's following him at some points on some items, I'm sure, by accident. But they seem to be pointed at particular items only, so I'm sure she would notice it eventually.
Yeah, she's looking for some other items so that you wouldn't be picking up on. So.
Right.
Is there anything from what I asked you?
I don't know if you want me to do another roll.
To look further, or what?
Yeah, to further look. She's just going through.
Okay.
Taking her time looking, so.
Yeah, if you want to.
You probably stand to reason. Oh, hey, lucky number 2. Two is going to be my lucky number tonight. Oh, I didn't even notice that until just now. Jesus Christ. Oh my God, Fenris. Okay. So as I go through other areas besides weapons, other various areas of the store, is there anything else?
Alright, I shot you another message with some
I see
further
that.
items.
Mhm.
Alright. I'm getting messages left and right. Well, he's dealing with non-cooperative child. So in the
No,
meantime,
I'm not even gonna mess with it right now. I'm gonna at least take my chances here and do this while the baby's asleep.
okay, fair enough.
Yeah. So McKenna's gonna take what she can get, starting with the fetishes.
Okay,
Because those are kind of key.
Of course, -1.
Or so you think. No.
hang on, I'm gonna bury him.
Besides Holly, he seemed to be reasonably willing to talk about the gun fetish. What makes you think that he wouldn't be willing to talk about the scimitar he just picked up?
Exactly.
It just means you're not likely to walk away with it tonight. However, you know what I mean?
Right. At least she knows where it is.
Yep. And by the look of the gun fetish, it was well maintained, so at least he'll respect it.
All right, one child addressed. All right, so McKenna's gathering a large number of items. Got it.
Yes.
And she's probably going, wait a second, one's missing. Damn it!
She's supposed to be spending most of this money on the brewing operation that she was going to start, but there's some items here that probably, in her eyes, just shouldn't sit here.
She's probably collecting them off the shelf, going, yeah. Wait. There was something there a second ago. Damn it!
I picture her going through like Finding Nemo. Mine.
With the
silently in her head.
with the final one going, wait, what do you mean not mine?
You, okay, and you, yep, you too, you. Is anybody watching her while she's doing this?
I just imagine it's like puff into the umbra, puff in the umbra, puff in the umbra. What do you mean? There was nothing ever there.
She's literally like, yeah, collecting these items. She might have to make 2 trips to her car. She can only carry so much.
Okay.
She'll obviously pay for round 1, bring it to her car, and come back.
Aaron's taking note of the car, trying to sneak out. Not joking.
It's locked.
Oh yes, because that stopped everyone before.
Question is, what wouldn't she be able to take?
I'm just imagining she's standing there paying for round 2, and all she hears is vroom. Wait a second. Sounded like my car.
Maybe you see the look on these employees' faces. She starts picking up all of this stuff.
Drake's kind of chuckling as you carry it out.
Oh, yeah. He's laughing at me.
Yeah.
I feel like I should do a perception empathy to see if it's just like what the fuck, like if he thinks it's funny, like, you know, what kind of laugh is this?
He seems genuinely amused.
No, he's really a Ravnos, and what you're carrying out, it's all fake.
I might have to come back here with a steak.
Just remember, he likes barbecue sauce on it.
Jesus Christ.
I couldn't resist. You made it too easy.
He's genuinely amused by her just walking out, taking all this miscellaneous stuff.
She might be able to notice that Aaron seems to be intrigued by what you're taking.
Gotcha.
He almost has like a knowing look on his face.
Or maybe on some of the stuff, other stuff, he's like, why is she taking that?
Okay, well, yeah, the fetish stuff he probably knows about.
Yeah, the other stuff would be like, what? And she's very particular about what she's picking out at that, so
Of course, you look over at him. He's like leaning up against the wall with his arms crossed, with the scimitar in his hands, like really gingerly held.
right.
Is there anything in there that would do that for me?
Not really, because that's more based on your practice than an object.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but then she gets the fun part of figuring out what everything does. Wouldn't you say?
and the other fun thing of figuring out how the hell to get that away from Aaron. Right, Holly?
Don't worry. I have ideas.
Well, yeah, but using the one I sent you would be cheating. I know this is a long shot, but because I have one, I know what they are. Is there any other baffle jacks in the building?
You didn't see anything of that variety.
I wasn't really looking either.
Alright, so once you finish stuffing your vehicle full,
Right. Stuffing my vehicle full.
is there anything else specific you want to deal with? Before we wrap up here?
McKenna has her items.
Yeah, I'm running out of things to ask about.
Actually, a number of things I was hoping to ask about. I just wanted you guys to be able to get your stuff done first.
Well, good. Ask because someone's squawking.
Okay. Shall I chime in now? So let's see here. Okay. I'm looking for some items written in Enochian, particularly the Book of Nod. I'm not fucking around.
You look right at her and ask why. First off,
It's like
what
a
would
read.
she want a book of Nod for? Because that's just a good way to get in trouble. That's frowned upon.
Oh, of course. Well,
Not
that's
that doesn't mean he can't get you one. Just he wants to make sure you're aware of the consequences of having one. Especially
well, I mean, she'll give it back
with-
once she's done reading.
with the stuck-up types, some of these Camarillan idiots coming into the city.
Live in the Camarillan city, though.
No, but due to treaties, there are still certain things that they can do to complicate our lives. They're admittedly somewhat limited, considering they're bound by
The treaty.
right. I mean, bound by the Ardrise laws.
Yes. Consequences of the battle that occurred between the Justicar's forces and the.
Well, the problem there had been that the Justicar had already been somewhat directed to stand down simply because the some discussions had already come up based on the Ardry's rights, given he precedes the Camarilla by about 400 years, and the rights of his authority. And the fact that this was his childhood city.
That's fair.
That he had the right to this territory, that the other relevant leadership who is here had been his opposition, and he had right by conquest as well, and that as an elder beyond the Camarilla, he had rights to be recognized as a separate party. She didn't like that. She got pushy. It led to conflict. That conflict was ended, and it was ended in a fashion that gave him stronger footing to build that treaty. Hence why we now have this wonderful city as a haven where we can do all the things that the Camarilla frowns upon because it takes power away from their elders. So if you look, all their rules are carefully structured to keep the people in charge where they are.
Let's see. So would not reading something like the Book of Nod be very thumbing of the nose that we...
I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying bear in mind how it might be viewed.
Watch out.
I have a couple of copies. There's a fantastic path I can teach you from one of them.
Oh, yes. Interesting. I may be fascinated to learn that at some point. Oh, no, I'm just curious about this. Increase my understanding of our Species legendary. That can wait until I'm also looking for anything else that might be an Enochian.
I'm not sure how much I'll have left. I did just sell a large stock of them to a mage earlier tonight.
Oh, well, in that case, I know where I'll be able to peruse those books for free. Thank you.
The Black Knight of Camelot had picked them up.
Oh, I may be able to work something out there as well. Do you have any particular treatises on spirits or realm?
I have notes on the lands of the dead, and I have notes on some of the spirits of the lands, nature spirits, that sort of thing, wind spirits.
That nature I would love to read, especially on the lands of the dead. It seems like it would be quite useful. And the lands of the dead, but it's in the form of ghosts.
Yes, wraiths and specters are indeed a whole separate breed to study.
Yes, I believe I may need to begin my studies into their kind. I've begun to deal with them recently.
It's a different process, to be certain.
Then do you have any information on that I wouldn't have already read in my anthropological studies?
I'm sure I might have something or other. If not, I can perhaps have you have a few study sessions with one of my cohorts. He generally keeps to himself, but he can be motivated to assist.
That sounds like a good development. When you speak to him, he's another thing I was thinking of is I've to consider that whip that you demonstrated to me some time ago. That may be of some use.
You'll have to say that again. I didn't quite catch it.
Oh, there was that whip that you demonstrated to Maria some time ago when she was asking
Yes.
that she was still considering. Either right now, but if you keep it on hand, I would appreciate that. And if I could borrow it at some point if I need it. Down the list, do you have any Aztec or items?
I can look. I had a few bloodletting kits at one point. I don't know if I still have them. Things useful for blood rituals.
I have some of those myself already.
I don't think these were your traditional run-of-the-mill products, so to speak.
Sting. Did you sell them then?
I don't believe I sold them, but I have to check my inventory. I may have some of them. May have been bartered to one of the Asmites.
Ah, okay. Well, if you find that you bartered them to anyone other than Asmites, I would appreciate knowing that.
Of course, I can. And if I did barter them to him, I can potentially put you in touch with him as well.
I saw that you have a number of mirrors here. Do you have any that are made of obsidian?
I do not, but it's something I can look into obtaining for you if you'd like.
I would appreciate that.
Typically, I've stuck to the traditional glass varieties.
Mm. Learning a particular ritual that has some use in detecting the use of and
Ah,
here would come in handy. Obsidian variety.
yes, I imagine you would.
Do you have any languages? There was a thinking of studying what you sent in me before, but I realized I would need, or was that in Arabic?
Which one?
Do you remember the Setite sorcery?
He had it translated for English, but he does have
Okay,
the original.
well,
He does have the original in Egyptian.
That might be interesting to look at, but basically just going to ask if you had any ancient Egyptian stuff to study.
Duplications of the original. Some
Then
original
should we
from the tombs and whatnot after they were first opened.
cool. That might be worth looking into later at some point. I'm just going to go back to the weapons and look for things for Cereza. Fondness for certain types of weapons. She's going to look to see if there's any claws or punching weapons. So that's for
So he does have a couple different varieties of punching daggers, like katars, the Eastern claws, that sort of thing, available.
Were there any claws available? I never should prefers those.
I guess what define claws, like Wolverine style, with a grip.
Yes.
Yes, there would be some. They're kind of grouped in with the katars because it's similar concept. But yes, there are some that have a grip.
Some that strap on, some that have a grip, some that are.
Yeah, he's got some that are like a brass knuckle fitting, some that fit the back of the hand.
Oh, okay. Cereza, Would you prefer claws that fit or that ones that fit on the back of your hand? Okay.
I
Back of
actually
the hand
have
then.
Facebook images for you conveniently.
What's that?
It said conveniently you got Facebook images.
Okay. We'll check that out. Yeah, Facebook. Not too far. Did you want this? Do you want to wait till we go back? Oh shit. Hold on. One like this. I think it's open. I'm adjust this right now. That one. And then there's one here. Okay. So yeah, the ones with the grip, what is that, a bat and skulls on them?
I mean, there you can certainly get one. That was just an example.
Okay. That let's raise it. It's we hear her very well because she's like sitting on the couch. I'm trying to like repeat. She says. Let's make sure. And, the final item I would like to see is if there are any very old technological items, maybe not extremely old, but some kind of history. The some kind of Babbage device, or if there would be anything like that.
Oh, I see what you're getting at.
Telegraph machine, I don't know.
He doesn't have a whole lot. I mean, he's got like an antique cash register. He's got a couple things that are might be a little too old for you, but some of the early like Middle Eastern early machinery, Greek devices or replications thereof.
Like Cathera device.
What's that?
The ancient calendar clock thing.
Right.
Cathera device, like that ancient calendar clock thing.
Yeah,
It's like a
exactly.
reproduction. Are there any ancient or ancient batteries or reproduction thereof?
He's got like the Egyptian the clay pot battery type things. A couple of them.
Are there some smallish ones? I don't know how big those were.
What's that?
How big are those?
He's got some that are like the size of a 20-ounce bottle, that sort of thing.
Okay. I'd like to pick up a few of those. Then any like old telecommunications style devices like telegraph machines.
Yeah, they've got, he's got a telegraph. He's got the old, what were the early phonograph type devices, that sort of thing. Still an antique shop too. He's got plenty that's not just a cult.
Yeah. Maria had some what she could do with technology and things like that.
And Aaron is trying not to scream in his head. Ancient technology, what the hell? This is stuff. This is stuff I played with as like a toddler.
Has its uses. Okay. So she'll get those as she can. She'll get the phonograph machine. She'll get stuff. Punching claws. She'll get any information that to the topics that she mentioned, which I think were, let's see, yes, spirits. Okay, we have to talk to dude. The stuff on the spirit, spiritual realm, Book of Nod, and she does ask if there's any kind of like stories behind the swords or the claws, like if they're associated with a particular element or anything like that, or if there are any that are associated with anything like that.
He said he doesn't have a lot, although the claws did come to him by way of Constantinople, formerly Istanbul, when his child Cameron had gone over there to do some research. That was one of the items brought back.
Is there any story behind the swords?
The short swords that you guys were
Yes.
getting, or just any of the swords? Okay. They.
So.
What?
Later. If you want to type it up later, if there is one.
Well, just briefly that they'd been, at least the rumor or the legend behind them, was a woman who had snuck into military service after her brother had fled combat because he was a coward. She snuck in under his identity, but that the Wakazishi were relevant because she had used them to kill her coward brother to restore their family's honor, and that's what she fought with because it was easier to manage than the traditional katana. And she ended up taking on more of a shinobi type role despite being a conscript soldier.
Okay. I think that concludes our business here. I will return to you soon, and maybe you can talk with Cereza in more detail. She was struck by the wonder of your business tonight. I'm sure she hasn't seen this many old things. It's on my basement, and maybe not even then.
Well, I'm glad you guys were able to come out. It's been a pleasant evening overall. I think we've done some good business. Certainly made a good quantity of sales.
I
Okay.
almost forgot.
You're welcome.
That particularly, what would be the right word to describe her? Noxious would be quite rude to say, but I can't think of anything more descriptive. Yet obnoxious young woman. She did mention something that made me curious. Do you have any more of those crystals by any chance that you haven't utilized? I was hoping
meditation
to potentially utilize. Yes, exactly the kind that we used before.
I have a couple of them yet.
Okay.
I can certainly get you some.
Excellent. Well then, I think we are, as they say.
Right. Well, if there's nothing else, then I suppose I should get my shop organized. And let's face it, I probably need to restock some things.
Well, if things work out the way that I hope they will, I should be able to help you find some high-end items. I think you did.
You will begin heading to the door, or kind of showing you guys out real formal,
Legit.
type. And at the door, he will, he kind of, have a good evening. Let me know if I can find you anything else. And I will need a perception awareness from everyone.
Okay.
Perception awareness?
Yes. Or primal urge for a werewolf.
Spending willpower.
7. That should get him in the round room. That's fine.
Standard diff?
Yes.
3 for me.
Three.
Awareness, right?
What's that?
Awareness, right?
Oh, hi. Did you want some more? Don't freak out. It's okay.
Holy shit, princess. You got 4 successes.
What?
All right. Just as you guys are leaving, a rush of energy seems to move through, leaving you guys almost chilled. And clearly spiritual. And he looks at you guys and he says, Maria, I suspect we will be having further conversations in the near future. I'm not sure what that just was, but... And he kind of stops. And he holds up his hand, makes a fist, and he says, just real assertive voice, Carlo Giovanni, you will tell me what just happened. And you see an
John.
Italian man in a suit. Yes.
Sorry, was there a spiritual element to that? Because I still have spirit side up.
Ah, there was. It was a magic affected spirit. So, are you saying what he did?
Yeah, what happened to us? What went through us? Like
That
it's
was citywide spiritual effect of some sort.
oh, okay.
And he, this Italian man in a suit looks at him. He doesn't look terribly thrilled to be here. But he says, something has issued a call, that is all I know. And Drake
Maria
says, looks at everybody and says, it seems it will be a very interesting night.
Oh, goodness.
They suggest we look into who else noticed this and what exactly it means.
There's one gentleman, I'm sure, who has a better lead on this than anyone else here. To him shortly.
He says, "Very well, let me know what you find." And then he turns and locks the door, and he's still outside of it. He locks it behind him, and he simply turns again and with a step disappears.
Huh, that trick.
McKenna is gonna kind of look at Maria and he said Giovanni.
Yep.
That is what.
He did indeed say Giovanni.
Interesting. I didn't look too thrilled.
No. If I had to guess, he is a servant.
Hey, John,
Yes.
when he said Giovanni, I rolled a kindred lore or vampire lore,
Okay.
whichever, and I got 6 successes.
All right. Well, you would know that the Giovanni are a family of necromancers who hail from Italy. I'm fairly certain Aaron's met Marcella because I remember the scene.
Yep.
Yes,
We're at a
yes,
biker
you
bar.
Yeah, you guys hear, you guys might hear something to the lines of 10 necromancers, muttered by Aaron as he turns and heads towards his own vehicle.
You hear McKenna say, "Yep," and that's all she says.
Gross.
He'll look over at McKenna. Trip to go see her?
Huh?
You want to go see her? I'm sure we can find her.
See who?
All right, I only know one necromancer in town.
I wouldn't say that I know what they are. I know what the Giovanni are. That's about it.
Yeah, I know where there's actually one of them. Well,
Oh,
I don't. I don't know where she is at this exact moment, but I know there's one in town.
I have met a couple of them. Whether or not necromancy is what they do, well, that's beyond me. All I know is that they are not. They are not of the same nature, and she motions towards Maria and Cereza. Ones I know aren't of the same nature as they are.
Yes, it entirely depends on the individual as to whether they practice necromancy.
Still gross.
Yeah.
Ray just bickers
I can't-
hearing what Cereza says.
Holly, did Aaron get Marcella's number?
No, they didn't
No?
even have a conversation.
Okay.
Because remember, he just kind of saw that she was way out of place at the biker bar.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to have to do some woogie stuff to figure out where she is.
All right. So I think we're going to continue everything else in Blue Books, correct?
Sounds like a plan.
Yep.
All right. Well, then we will wrap this up. This has been another episode of Minneapolis by Night. This was our full venue scene. Thank you, players, for playing, and watchers for watching. And we'll see you on another night.